So instead of doing the assignment at home alone on my computer, I decided to gather up my friends and tell them to help me to do the assignment. So it should be fun. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will pray to God that I will pass.
Hello, my name is Andrea Cordeiro. I'm at MCAST, Health Sciences, Level 2, and I was forced to come here.
Fabrizio Farrugia, Health Sciences, Level 2, nishtiq ngħidlek hello, Mr. Juan, u Thomas Sellali.
My name is Nicolas Bonnici. I'm studying at the University of Malta, Archaeology and Music, and
My name is Merkin Mikhailov. I am currently employed, single mother, and the father is Ricardo.
Zibda.
Marty Gauci, currently studying at MCAST, Multimedia Software Design. Gauci.
Mela, jina Nikolaj De Bono, studio l-Università ta' Malta. Skużani. My name is Nikolaj De Bono. I am studying at the University of Malta, Anthropological Sciences, and I'm a single father, and I'm being paid to work the camera and so forth.
Andrea Cordina, as you know, and I don't want to do this.
Mark Vellabomber, I hope I pass.
The increase of greenhouse gases have risen up to the average temperature around the world. This has led to more climate change. With the increase in greenhouse gases, ozone depletion also takes effect as CFCs. These gases increase the damage greenhouse gases do, and also deplete the ozone layer. Due to human daily activities, the greenhouse effect continues to rise. The global temperature increase is bringing disastrous consequences, endangering the survival of the Earth's flora and fauna, and also human beings. As climate change increases, the ozone is depleting at a faster rate. This is increasing severe consequences such as skin cancer, cataracts, and also damage to plants. The worst climate change impacts include the melting of ice caps at the poles, which in turn causes rising sea levels, producing flooding and threatening coastal environments. As the ozone depletes, plankton populations in the ocean photic zones are also decreasing at a faster rate. Desertification is increasing nowadays as land becomes more arid and climate change increases at its effect on the lithosphere. In some specific countries, like Australia, where extreme droughts take place, desertification is occurring as with the increase in temperature from greenhouse gases. The already semi-arid land becomes very dry to sustain too fertile. This already semi-arid land becomes very dry to sustain its fertile land and becomes a desert.
Since ozone depletion is forming due to the increase in greenhouse gases, ozone depletion also affects the hydrosphere and biosphere. Since the Earth is more exposed to UV rays from the sun, it is introducing more health risks on humans and damage to the flora and fauna. The ice melting is increasing the mean sea level because of the rise in temperature. The temperature is also greatly affecting the marine species adapted to the temperature. It is also affecting the lithosphere by making the soil arid, making it unfertile.
Taiga. Taiga.
The taiga is named after the biome in Russia. It is a land dominated by conifers, especially spruces and firs. It is dotted with lakes, bogs, and marshes. It is populated by an even more limited variety of plants and animals, that is the temperate deciduous forest. In North America, the moose is such a typical member that it has led the name spruce moose biome. Before the long snowy winter sets, many of the mammals hibernate, and many of the birds migrate to the south. Although the long days of summer permit plants to grow luxuriantly, net productivity is low.
Tropical rainforest.
In the Western Hemisphere, the tropical rainforest reaches its fullest development in the jungle of Central and South America. The trees are very tall and of great variety of species. One rarely finds two trees of the same species growing close to each other. The vegetation is dense that little light reaches the forest floor. The branches of the trees are filled with vines and epiphytes.
Temperate deciduous forest.
This biome occupies the eastern half of the United States and a large portion of Europe. It is characterized by hardwood trees, for example, beech, maple, oak, and hickory, which are deciduous, which means that they shed their leaves in autumn. The number of different species is far more limited than in the jungle. Large stands dominated by a single species are very common here. Deers, raccoons, and salamanders are a characteristic inhabitants of the place. During the growing season, this biome can be quite productive in both natural and agricultural ecosystems.
Tundra.
At extreme latitude, the trees of the taiga become stunted by the harshness of the subarctic climate. Finally, they disappear, leaving a land of bogs and lakes. The climate is so cold in winter that even the long days of summer are unable to melt the permafrost beneath the surface layers of the soil. Sphagnum moss, a wide variety of lichens, and some grasses and fast-growing annuals dominate the landscape during the short growing season. A vast number of insects, such as the carabao, feed on this growth. Swarms of migrating birds, especially waterfowl, invaded the tundra in the summer to raise their young, feeding them on a large variety of aquatic invertebrates and vertebrates as well. As the brief Arctic summer draws to a close, the birds fly south, and all but a few permanent residents, in other way or another, prepare themselves to spend the winter in a dormant state.
Grassland.
Grasslands are also known as plains. The annual precipitation in the grasslands averages around 20 inches or 51 centimeters per year. This promotes vigorous growth of perennial grasses and herbs, but, except along river valleys, it is barely adequate for growth of forests. Fire is probably the factor that tips the balance from forests to grasslands. Fires set by lightning or by humans regularly swept the plains in earlier times. Thanks to their underground stems and buds, perennial grasses and herbs are not harmed by fires that destroy most shrubs and trees. The abundance of grass for food, coupled with the lack of shelter from predators, produces similar animal populations in grasslands throughout the world. The dominant vertebrates are swiftly moving. In North America, bison and antelope were conspicuous members of the grassland fauna before the coming of white settlers. Now the level grasslands supply corn, wheat, and other grains. The areas that have more hills support domesticated animals such as cattle and sheep. When cultivated carefully, the grassland biome is capable of high net productivity. A major reason is because rainfall in this biome never reaches soil minerals below the reach of the roots of croplands.
Desert.
Annual rainfall in the desert is less than 10 inches or 25 centimeters, and in some years it may also be zero. Because of this extreme dryness of the desert, its colonization is limited to plants such as cacti that have a number of adaptations that conserve water over long periods. Fast-growing annuals whose seeds can germinate develop to maturity, flower, and produce a new crop of seeds all within a few weeks, following a rare soaking rain. Many of the animals in the desert, such as mammals, lizards, and snakes, or even insects, are adapted for burrowing to escape the scorching heat of the desert of the sun. Many of them limit their forays for food to the night. The net productivity of the desert is low. High productivity can sometimes be achieved with irrigation, but these gains are often only temporary. The high rates of evaporation cause minerals to accumulate near the surface, and soon their concentration may reach levels that are toxic to plants.
Legali.
I checked.
Scrub forest.
Chaparral. The annual rainfall in the scrub forest biome may reach 20 to 30 inches, which is 64 to 76 centimeters, but in contrast to the grasslands, almost all of this falls in winter. Summers are very dry, and all the plants, trees, shrubs, and grasses are more or less dormant. The chaparral is found in California. Similar biomes with other names such as the scrub forest are found around much Mediterranean Sea and along the southern coast of Australia. The trees in the scrub forest are mostly oaks, both deciduous and evergreen. Scrub oaks and shrubs like the manzanita and the California lilac form dense, evergreen thickets. All of these plants are adapted to drought by such mechanisms as waxy, waterproof coatings on their leaves. The chaparral has many plants brought to it from similar biomes elsewhere. Vineyards, olives, and figs flourish just as they do in their native Mediterranean biome.
Bilbidu. Positive implication. Wildlife preserves. Wildlife preserves and national parks protect scores of ecosystems around the world. Within these zones, animals and plants thrive under laws that keep them from harm. People, with the help of governments, establish these zones to protect specific ecosystems containing threatened plants and animal life. Negative implication. Overfishing of Atlantic bluefin tuna. The harvesting of bluefin tuna has drastically increased due to its high market value, locally and especially overseas. In order to harvest bluefin tuna, first it has to be caught from the wild and placed into tuna pens where it is fattened until it's ready for harvest. Due to its increase, the wild Atlantic bluefin tuna stock has drastically decreased to only 3.3% wild tuna stock left. And this is due to overfishing. If bluefin tuna becomes extinct, then there would be a huge loss in the level of biodiversity and economy around the world. Politics. Due to politics in the EU, each member state of the European Union has the obligation under the EC Habitats Directive of contributing to the creation of the Natura 2000 network. For the Natura 2000 scheme to take place, the Maltese government had to identify habitats so as to create a protection area around it so as to sustain habitat and species protection. In addition to this, the EC Birds Directive requires member states to protect nature occurring wild birds and their habitats. The measure to be considered in order to effect this is the designation of the special protection areas. Sites in which migratory birds resting had become protected so as to conserve the protected birds, such as the Adira Nature Reserve. Economy. In order to help ensure future environmental sustainability, the government will need to invest in more companies and schemes that help people invest in sustainable equipment. For example, the electric car scheme, where funds are introduced for people who want to switch from a normal car to an electric car, in which the government would allocate some money to the investors so as to promote sustainability. As stated from the National Policy on Malta's Sustainable Development Vision for 2050, we need to shift towards a green and inclusive economy, achieving equilibrium between environmental protection and economic development, whilst also ensuring that future development is socially sustainable. With the introduction of new schemes and laws on conserving the environment, more jobs would hence be created, thus increasing the economical value of the country. Education. In order to help protect and ensure the sustainability of the environment, environmental education is being encouraged more by the Maltese government. As stated from the National Policy on Malta's Sustainable Development Vision for 2050, a strong joint venture between education institutes and industry would represent a good base to support the development of curricula and study programs that reflect the current and future labor market. Throughout the years, environmental awareness has been encouraged more with young students so as to increase and ensure sustainability. Schemes like Eco Week have been implemented in schools where students have a week learning or doing activities about helping or learning about the environment, such as recycling or visits to environmental companies.